Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. Today, the daily, it's Friday. Yay, Friday. June 24th, and it was a beautiful day here. So I'm sorry for all you people who are dealing with really, really hot temperatures where you are, because we have beautiful weather here in Maine this time of year. It was like 72 today, right? It might be. It might hit 80 tomorrow. It's very, very pleasant. We really like it. So that's why we live here part of the year and live somewhere else part of the year. So we got up this morning and we did Bible. Well, we did like breakfast and some chores and stuff. And then we did Bible. And we talked about prayer today, because our family might do this a little different than most families. But when we pray at night before bed, we all sit around in the living room and we go in age order. So youngest, well, Gideon doesn't pray yet, but Malachi.
Can you turn that down, please?
Oh, stuff in the other room is too loud. So Malachi goes first. I remind him of what we've done that day, things he might want to pray for. And he always prays, "Thank you, God, for foods. Amen." Occasionally he'll add something else there, but that's the standard prayer. Then we go to Uriah, who's getting much more thoughtful in his prayers. He always prays for the firefighters, the EMTs, and the police officers. Then we go up to Abigail, who always prays for everybody in the whole world, all their lives.
Every day of their life.
Every day of their lives. She says more than that. Uriah says more than that. Just, there's certain things they always pray for. Josiah always prays for the firefighters, the EMTs, and the police officers. He always prays for a lady at church who brought him an apple, an almond butter,
And an egg.
and an egg. And he prays for that every night, even though that happened 6 weeks ago. Yeah. It was a long time ago. It was Mother's Day weekend, whenever Mother's Day weekend was. So that happened a long time ago. So he always prays for that. Josiah always has long prayers. So if he tells you he's praying for you, he's probably praying for you by name. Then up the line, Samuel, Naomi, Virginia, Mommy, Daddy. If we have people with us, they get to go in age order too. So like while Wayland was here the whole time, he's between Virginia and me. The other night we had, a couple weeks ago, we had our friends Todd and Angela over. They're both older than Mark, so they went after us. Praying with your mom the other day, she goes after. So it just depends on who's with us. But we invite people to pray with us because we know that it is unique that families pray together more than just the prayer before meals. We're kind of weird in that too. We don't pray before meals because we feel like a lot of people pray. It becomes a rote prayer. And so it's not that we're not thankful to God. We just don't say a rote prayer before meals.
And it doesn't have to be a rote prayer. You can definitely really pray before a meal.
Some people say really good prayers before meals. Mm-hmm. We've just found that for our family, we focus on prayer in the evening. We'll occasionally stop in the middle of something and pray because we hear that something's going on that needs to be prayed for at the moment. Or I'll say, we need to pray for this person because I just thought of it. It's not, we only pray at nighttime, but we don't pray before meals just as a standard. Here, let's pray before a meal. So anyway, where was I going? So we talked about prayer today. So we went to Colossians, and we went to Ephesians, and we went to Philippians, and we went to the Lord's Prayer. Naomi and Virginia both had verses because they're memorizing different parts of the Bible, reading different parts of the Bible. So they shared some things. And that was our first thing. Our what?
Nothing.
Oh, you were scratching your finger. I thought you were trying to sign to me or something. So that we usually do our Bible time from 9:30 to 11, but instead we did it 8 to 9:30 or something this morning. Then the lawn got mowed while I worked on some dishes. Some other people were doing stuff. I don't remember what everyone was doing during that time, but I was washing dishes.
There's a lion on the wall behind your head.
There is. Okay, so this room was my brother's. This house was built 20 years ago. This room was painted probably 19 years ago and has been the same since. And there's some random marks on the wall that
maybe we should.
My brother probably doesn't even know why they're there. I don't know why I'm sitting here on the floor next to my bed today. This is where I was sitting and Mark wanted to do the video.
But you do like to sit on the floor.
I do. I love sitting on the floor. The floor is one of my favorite places to be. This room's kind of weird though because it's a small room. So how our bed is, there's not much room. My knees are up against the bed to sit here. But especially, I'm not pregnant. This is not a pregnancy announcement. But especially when I'm pregnant, I like to sit on the floor because I like to be able to stretch in different ways. So, but anyway, tonight I just kind of flopped here and this is where I was. So people did things after Bible before lunch.
Stuff
I don't
happened.
remember. I made lunch too. So I did have to pick a chicken. We had chicken quarters last night, like chicken leg quarters. And I picked the rest of the meat off those today, and that went in the Instant Pot with onions and celery and all of that. I try to cook down the bones every time we have bones from meat because it's like free food. It was stuff you were going to throw away, and now you get to keep the broth that comes from it. So my Instant Pot makes about 2 meals worth of broth for us if we're having soup. So I did that and picked off the chicken. Somewhere in there, I cleaned out the fridge because I was trying to place a Walmart order and got all the stuff we needed. Like, groceries are going up. Eggs have gone down a little bit, but most groceries are going up. So I spent like $200 at Walmart today, even though we just picked up an order on Monday. But that was our way out of town on a trip in the camper, so that was a little different than usual. But trying to remember all the stuff, and we're just trying to, if you've watched for a little while, Josiah's on a diet. We've added back some things which he has done well with. We haven't had any complications, but we're trying to all eat in a different way of eating less carbs and more vegetables. And so trying to keep all of that in the house can be challenging. So for lunch today, breakfast this morning, rice pudding. Except for Abigail, she doesn't like rice pudding, so she had eggs. And Josiah can't have rice pudding because of his diet, and I was going to give him eggs, but realized we only had 2. That was part of the reason we had the Walmart order today. So Josiah had cheese, cheese and tomatoes and carrots. The kids all had vegetables. So then we had lunch was chicken and beans and peppers and onion and some tomatoes and some rice. It was the leftovers that I cleaned out of the fridge. So it was taco-y. And yeah, that's what we did. What did we do after lunch? Oh, Mark had a doctor's appointment. So he went to the doctor. His blood pressure's good. He needs some blood work for just some random things, but nothing that's like big, scary, just trying to figure out life. He was supposed to have blood work a couple months ago, and they took like 1 vial of blood for 1 test, and he had like a whole bunch of tests scheduled by the doctor, and they didn't take it. So the talk today at the doctor's office was whether they should get those numbers sooner or later. Should they wait for another couple months or get them now? So they decided to get them now. Right? Is that the basics?
Yeah.
Basics of it. Anything else about your doctor's appointment you want me to say? No? Okay. So, not that there was anything else to say. I just didn't know if I was forgetting something. So then they came home and we got out the kiddie wading pools for the first time this year. Probably some of you have been swimming for a long time, but for us, we're actually setting up the real pool tomorrow. We had the little kiddie wading pools out, and Malachi, our one child who hates baths and showers, loves the kiddie wading pool and was in there for probably 3 times as long as anyone else, pouring water over his head, splashing water around, laying in the water. Like, he loves it.
All the things he won't do in the bathtub.
Yeah, the things he won't do in the bathtub. So I'm going to count that as he got soaked today. And what else? Oh, so then we came inside and we had supper, which supper was like a hearty tomato sauce made with meat and vegetables over broccoli with focaccia bread. So that was our day. Then that's right. Then we drove to Rockland, and I'll explain that in a minute. We went and got our Walmart order tonight, which the Walmart app isn't working, which it wasn't working the other day either. So we waited there a lot longer than we had to because our end of the app said that we were all checked in. And then they came out and they're like, what are you waiting for? So we went and got that, and then came on home. So got kids to bed a little bit later, and Virginia is right now washing dishes. It's like 9 o'clock, 9:30. She's finishing washing dishes because after dinner it's her job to do dishes, but we went on an impromptu ride after dinner, and when we got home, Virginia was trying to get on to an ASL call that she's missed for weeks now and wanted to be part of, so we told her she could wait and do the dishes till later, as long as she's 19. If she decides to wait till later, it just means she goes to bed later, right?
So we have the freshly gospelized Jesus wagon.
Oh, yes. So, do I have a picture of it? Hold on. I can show you on my phone. Watch. I have a phone because we just got a comment on it.
With Epaphroditus, yeah.
Well, it was on the top of my newsfeed because, so the people we bought it from just saw the van and they were like, that looks nice. So, Mark.
Yep.
And Naomi put that on yesterday. So,
That's one side.
yes. And then the other side. Do you want me to show the other side?
If you want to.
Hold on. I gotta find it. I gotta find it. Someone wrote to me. Hey, my friend Rachel wrote to me. Hi, Rachel. Okay. I'm trying to find it. Here's the other side.
Okay, yeah.
I'll write back in a minute, Rachel, after I find
That's
my
our
video.
awesome van.
So anyway, that's our
Thank you,
awesome
Ken
van.
and Tara.
So we got that from people in Oklahoma, and so last year,
Ago.
just about a year ago, they were out on the street doing. So our family, Mark, Virginia, and Naomi, were out on the street doing ministry. Someone didn't like Virginia's gospel sign, which just had a Bible verse on it, and decided to take her hands off the wheel so she could show her disgust with Virginia using hand motions, and lost control of her car, ran into our van, which she hit hard enough that it pushed up onto the curb. It had gone a couple feet.
It's a 1 ton, 15 passenger van.
It wasn't very much different than that one, except it didn't have dualies. And so her insurance company totaled our vehicle and gave us a lot of money, which we weren't sure what we were going to get. Like the numbers that had been thrown around by some people who thought they might know something were very low. Are you okay, Josiah? Yeah? I'm going to hold this. I'll let Daddy go check on. Oh, he laid down. He's okay. Are you going to lay down?
Lay down.
You might have. I don't know.
Good night.
So anyway, he's going back to bed. The van. Oh, the numbers people had given us, we thought we would never be able to find a van that would fit our family for the numbers people were kind of thinking the insurance would give us. And they called us and offered about 3 times what we thought, 3 or 4 times what we thought people, like, people were guessing. And so that was amazing that they offered that much. There was this talk of, do you buy it, however it works, buying it back so that you can just get it fixed and continue driving it, but we didn't know how much damage was done by the actual pushing of the vehicle and everything. But the amount they told us was easily going to get us another van. So, I mean, we'd have to look, but we would be able to find one.
Finding one was hard.
Finding one was hard. So I'm on a group of mothers of many young siblings on the, it was an old forum. And I wrote to just the ladies and I said, does anyone happen to be getting rid of a van, like gone through the stage in life looking to get rid of something? And Tara wrote to me and said that their family was past that stage, that they had multiple drivers and they always took little cars other places. So they had a van that was just sitting. So we bought this van from them. So it was from Oklahoma, had not seen rust, like doesn't have rust because it had not seen snow. It had a lot less miles than our van and was newer than our old van. And the money that the insurance gave us paid for the van plus paid to get it transported from Oklahoma all the way to Maine. So it was nice. No money out of pocket for that.
Yep. We
paid a little money out of pocket to be able to continue renting the van that didn't fit our whole family, but renting the van that insurance had gotten because we had never had an insurance claim before. It wasn't against us, but like we had never dealt with insurance before. So they rented us a vehicle, but it wasn't big enough for our whole family. But we continued to keep it for an extra couple days because we were able to keep the insurance price, which was a lot less than what they would have charged us had we done it on our own. So anyway, they got that on the van. But all of that to say, we went on a drive today because today is the day that Roe versus Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court. And there's lots of feelings on either side of this, so I don't want to get too deep into this tonight. But we went to Rockland we heard that there was going to be a protest in Rockland, and we just wanted to see who was there. We didn't want to go counter-protest. We didn't want to do any of that. We just wanted to go see how many people were around and if people were angry. When we drove by, someone got all excited and was like, woohoo, abortion, because they saw our signs on our vehicle. The people out there, other than that lady, not that she was terrible. I mean, her thoughts are terrible. I'm not saying that she's in the right there. But the people there all seemed peaceful, and there wasn't, like, meanness going on or anything.
There's only like 10 people there.
Yeah, there were only like 10 people. But we have a friend who's been down in Portland today when he's normally down in Portland today. Like, this didn't have anything to do with the overturned Roe versus Wade, but there were very angry people on the streets today down there. And we need to be praying for our brothers and sisters in Christ who are actually out there on the streets, because whether they're preaching against abortion or just out on the streets sharing the gospel, they're being targeted right now by these people, because they think for some reason they think that we are like personally responsible for taking away women's rights. The thing is, this overturning of Roe versus Wade, most people don't actually know what it even means. And so Roe versus Wade was decided by the court back in 1973 on a case of a woman who had already had a baby. And so I'll talk to you later. A woman who had already had a baby, and she ended up not wanting anything to do with abortion, and later in life was upset that her whole story was used to legalize abortions in the United States. Because of that one decision, they people have decided that, like, it has set precedent, I guess is what I should say. And it is decided that the Supreme Court is okay with abortion, so everyone should be okay with abortion from a legal federal standpoint. It was never actually handed over to the federal government. And so all the overturning of Roe versus Wade is doing is putting the decisions of what happens within the state of abortion or the abolishment of abortion, it goes back to the state level, which, if you look at the Constitution, anything that is not specifically written in the Constitution is left to the states or the people.
It says it in the text.
So the Constitution does not have a right. I mean, it has a right to life. Like the Constitution does protect personhood, but because people want to decide that babies in the womb are not persons, they have written off that doesn't apply to them. The thing is, Nazis wrote off that Jews were not persons, and blacks were not persons. That's why we had the right to enslave them. So just calling someone a not person allows you to get away with a lot of stuff. So that's what has happened, is that babies in the womb have been considered not persons, and we can make decisions of what we do with them. The problem is, God is the author of life. God made that baby in the womb, and God gets to decide the fate of that baby. Each of us, God has already determined the day when we're going to die. So we don't get to be the one to make that choice. They think that it's a choice of killing a baby in the womb. So anyway, the choice you have is whether you create the baby or not. Once the baby has been created, you don't have the right to kill that baby. That baby did nothing, and according to the Constitution, you have a right to life unless you, by due process, have been found to have committed a crime that you get the death penalty. And babies in the womb have not done that. So, wherever you stand on this, all this is doing is pushing it back to the states. And we live in a state where everybody wants to have, not everybody, but the governing authorities that are in power right now want to see abortions made even more readily available.
And
so
state funded.
Yes, our state already funds abortions, because the federal government, multiple years ago, it was this big fight about the federal government's not funding abortions, and these poor people, and Planned Parenthood needs to now fund these abortions. In Maine, the state just pays for the abortions. So Maine is going to probably have even more abortions, and people traveling here for abortions, where there are other states that already had laws set in place that if Roe versus Wade got overturned, they were planning to abolish abortion. So I don't know all of them, but I know Tennessee has I don't know exactly what it states, but they have a strict abortion law.
I think it's a 6-week, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, it's a very small number, which still should be total abolishment of abortion. I'm just off the top of my head trying to remember what the different ones were, but it's still going to be less abortions that are available right now in the state. Idaho is going to abolish abortion. Do you remember any of the others?
Some of the others, but
some of the others have already decided that abortion is a legal right that any woman can have, and it's already written into state law that you get to continue having abortions. So all it does is it's going to divide each state against each other. So, which there's different laws that already do that, like not to the extent of this. And so there's a lot of fighting by Christians, not fighting in like swords and that type of thing, just being out about sharing the gospel, like using words to share what Christ has done for us and trying to open people's eyes to that truth, trying to show them how horrendous abortion is. Not any physical violence. And I'm praying for Christians that there's not physical violence committed against them, because there already has been acts of violence against people who are pro-abortion, who are out hurting the like pro-life people. I guess is what I'd say. So that's that. One more thing I wanted to address, because I've seen this a couple times now. An abortion. So there's a medical term called a spontaneous abortion. It is the death of a baby in utero. A spontaneous abortion is your body, for whatever reason. It might be because of infection. It might be because the baby, didn't grow right. There's different reasons. But a spontaneous abortion is the baby does not survive for whatever reason in utero. Your body then releases the pregnancy. I don't know the technical term for it. So, but the idea that your body is going to miscarry that baby, and the pregnancy will be over. There are times when your body does not do what it's naturally supposed to do, where the baby and the placenta and everything are delivered, even if it's at that early time, and they have to do a surgery called a D&C, maybe a D&E. I don't know all the technical terms for it, but they have to do the same surgery that they would do to take out a fully live functioning baby from your womb. And I know that is very hard to deal with. We had a miscarriage after Virginia that we went in for a doctor's appointment, and they found that there was no heartbeat. I was like 8 weeks at the time. And their first thing was, okay, tomorrow we'll schedule you for a D&C and we'll get this taken care of. And in my mind, I couldn't do that. And it wasn't because I thought I was doing something wrong necessarily. I just wanted to let my body try to pass the baby on its own. And I didn't want medical intervention if not necessary, because at that time my body wasn't showing any signs of having problems with the baby still being there. However, it would not have been wrong for me at all to go and have that procedure done, especially if I was having some type of pain or bleeding or something that was going along with it.
If you're removing a baby that has already died, that's
right.
not the same as abortion.
Right. It would have been the removal of a baby that had already died. The term abortion that we are using here is the killing of a live baby, a fetus, an embryo, whatever you want to call it, the killing of the thing that is inside the person. It is not the removing of something that has already died. It'd be like, I have a fully functioning arm here. If I cut it off, that is a problem, because it's a fully functioning working arm. But if I had some major damage to this and it was going to create a septic reaction in my body or whatever, and I were to cut it off, I'm cutting off something that has already been mutilated and dying, or like dead at that point. So the embryo, fetus, any of those things you want to call it, it has to do with how formed, like how developed, that's the word I was using, how developed the baby is. Just like I say we have an infant, or we have a toddler, or we have a preschooler, or we have a high schooler. I am just referring to the stage of development of it. Not that my infant is not a person, but my high schooler is. I'm just explaining that they're on different ends of the spectrum. So if you use one of these terms, like an embryo or a fetus or whatever, you're still talking about a person. You're just talking about a person at a different stage of development.
A genetically unique person separate from the mother.
From the moment of conception, from the moment that the egg hits the sperm, it is a totally different human being, a totally different person. And at that point, you have no right to kill it. So, on that note, if you have a baby in utero who has died, a person who has died, there is no more heartbeat, there is no more sign of life. Having that, like if you have a D&C, to have the pregnancy,
haven't done anything wrong.
Yes, removed. There's nothing wrong with that, because that is, you are taking out something that has already died. The idea of abortion is the killing of it to take it out. So just, I know that there's a couple people who feel that like they had an abortion and they have to apologize for it and stuff. It's not an abortion if the baby was already dead. I do have a problem with people who want abortions because they think the baby has a problem, or they know the baby has a problem. You still don't have to kill the child.
Josiah's got half a brain. Everybody likes him.
Yeah, so Josiah, had we known what was wrong with him before he was born, they think he had a stroke in utero. And if they had seen on any of the scans that his brain was so much smaller and everything, they probably would have told us to abort, because he had, we were told at 10 months old when they found this, that he was probably never going to walk or talk. So just imagine if they found it in utero, how much more they'd say. So they told us that he would never walk or talk and that he was kind of a lost cause. That's the type of child they would tell you to kill in utero.
Even if they couldn't walk or talk, you still shouldn't kill them. They're still people.
Is he okay? Oh, he needs help. Okay, we're gonna go. We'll see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.